I'm going to talk about how we relate to colour and plants and how this affects us in our day-to-day. So this is what we'd use as a typical bagua. For those who are not quite sure what bagua is, what feng shui is, it is a practice that has been used over many years to bring harmony and balance into our lives through nature. Everything begins with nature. So I'm going to use these colours here to show you how colour can heal our mind and body through the energies that it carries. Colour psychologists suggest that colour has a powerful impact on our mood and our behaviour, and that from culture to culture, our perception changes on how we've been brought up. So we're going to start with blue. Blue is a colour of communication, tranquility and security. It slows down our metabolism, and it's been proven to be the most popular colour. It's my favourite colour too. Banks across the world use the colour blue in their logos to represent that they're trustworthy and loyal. Not quite sure how many of us would agree with that today. Green is abundant in nature. It's a colour that we see everywhere. It's also a colour that the human eye detects more shades of than any other colour. In the Western world, we see green as luck, prosperity, and it's also associated with jealousy. In China, jade stones represent vitality, and in feng shui, growth. It's an inspiring colour, and it helps with concentration. So this would be a fantastic colour to add to children's classrooms to help them with learning. Also, by putting plants in offices and classrooms, help, but I'll go into that more when we're talking about plants. Purple, unlike the colour green, is very rarely seen in nature. It's a colour of wisdom, spirituality, and because it's rarely seen, it gives an air of mystery. Culturally, it's of royalty, abundance, power, and wealth, combining the stability of blue and the high energies of red. Yellow is a joyous and radiant colour, bringing warmth and happiness. It's also a colour that influences the left side of our brains. So if you've got a subject that's coming up that involves creative writing, place something yellow next to you. And believe me, it does work, because I had a mountain of yellow objects when I was preparing for this speech. Ah, yeah, of course, of course. It functions with the logic, language, number skills, and creativity. Although the colour yellow has many positives, it does have its negatives too. Too much yellow can cause irritability, impatience, and anxiety. I think this is because it's too much energy increased by mental activity. Pink, the colour of universal love. This is of calming energies. Professor Max Lucia found that colour preferences provided a lot of information about a person's personality. He suggests that colour choices reflected emotional states and harmony. For example, prisons across Switzerland painted their institutions pink in an effort of reducing aggressive behaviour. They found that anger levels were reduced in as little as 15 minutes, that 30 prisons across Switzerland alone took part in this project called Cool Down Pink. Now, although pink is proven to be relaxing and also reduces anger levels, inmates were feeling quite humiliated by this because of the associations, female associations, sorry. Now pink, although it is calming, it's not somewhere you would put in a gym, not like the red. Red is a colour of male dominance. It's very popular in a range of sports and helps with self-confidence. It is said if you put two equal teams on a pitch and one's wearing red, you'll find that 80% the one wearing red would actually win. It's a very winning colour. So this is a colour of high energies, and it is a colour that you would put in the gym. It is also associated with appetite. McDonald's use this in their logos and their restaurants. So this is not a colour you want to be adding to your kitchen if you were planning on going on a diet. Like the yellow, too much red can cause frustration and anxiety. So if you're painting and decorating a room of relaxation, please keep this to a minimum. Grey and white. This is a colour of creative expression, and it's a masculine colour. It's also an emotionless colour which affects us mentally. It brings low and heavy moods, but this is not to say we feel any less self-efficient when wearing a grey business suit. So, we're all drawn to a certain colour, and it is this that scientists say says a lot about our personalities. Like I mentioned earlier, blue is my favourite colour. So by Lucia's findings, I am not only loyal, I'm also very intelligent. I'll just throw that in there. So, plants see colour too. How can plants see colour with no eyes? Well, this is a good question. Plants sense colour through the different shades in its soil surface, the light shades to the dark shades. The sun comes down and goes through the leaves, shines through the leaves and all around it, and it's this that they tend to see the same colours. They rapidly grow, competing for the sunlight. Melatonin levels in our brain tells us when we go to sleep and when we wake up. Janet Braun, a plant biologist at Rice University in Houston, says that a plant can detect the dawn of each day and follow the sun. It also has many changes throughout the day. What else is very interesting is that plants pick up on our conscious thoughts. Cleve Buxton, come up with the Baxter effect. He worked for the CIA in the 1960s, and one afternoon he was watering his plants when he wondered if the plant would show the same positives as it would do in a human. So he attached the polygraph up to his plant and watered the plant. At first there was no changes, and then after a second or two, it started to show the same positives as it would as the water travelled from roots to leaves. So Baxter went one step further and thought about how he could detect an emotions of a plant. So again, he attached electrodes to the end of the leaves, dipped a neighbouring leaf in a hot cup of coffee, and there was no changes. So he decided to think of different ways in harming the plant and thought about striking a match and burning the leaf. At this moment, there was an immediate spike in the polygraph reading, showing that a plant actually was showing the same reading as a person in distress. So by his findings, he was finding that not only did a plant react to chemical and physical stimuli, but it was also starting to be affected by emotional thoughts too. Do we have any vegetarians or vegans in the room today? Okay. So Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose believed that plants felt pain and understood affection. He asked Sir Patrick Gede, a Scottish biologist amongst many other talents, to come and assist him in an experiment. They both invited their friend George Bernard Shaw, a vegetarian Irish playwright. Shaw was very disturbed when he witnessed a cabbage having convulsions as it boiled to death. I will keep that with you the next time you're tucking into your cabbage soup. So going back to modern day scientists not believing that there is anything to do with conscious thoughts, And yet, plants send out an SOS when they're under attack. When they're under attack by a swarm of insects. They'll send out an SOS to the rest of their species through the roots, and the rest of the species will let off a watery fluid called sap, or sometimes a mustard smell to protect themselves from whatever's coming to harm them. They'll also send out an SOS if there is, freshly cut grass, that smell, that is an SOS warning too. When you cut the head off a flower and that beautiful perfume smell, that is also an SOS warning to the rest of its species. So plants stick together, and in signs of droughts, plants will share what little water and food they have with their own species. Sometimes plants will even look after the young of other species. When we talked before about plants in offices and classrooms, this is through horticulture. Horticulture is a cultivation of plants. It helps to heal and rehabilitate through education, physical, psychology, and social skills. My 10-year-old son's school runs a forest school half a day every week, and he absolutely loves it. It helps the children to plant seeds and herbs. It brings them together. They work as a team. They communicate with each other. And it especially helps those children that find it very difficult in classroom settling to concentrate for, long periods of time. A research was carried out by National Chung-Sing University. It's shown by just adding plants to the office space, shown less anxiety, less stress, and positive mental health, even if the office had no windows. It also helps children, as mentioned before, to concentrate. In feng shui, plants are very popular. By matching up colour to the elements is very positive. By being one with nature can only be positive for our mental health. We need to look after our greenery to keep the positive energies moving around our beautiful planet. Can you imagine living in a world that's just concrete? That's going to hinder our mental health. That's going to come with loneliness as well. Can you imagine living like that? I just couldn't at all. So, how do colour and plants relate to us? Well, we've already established that colour affects our moods and behaviour. It boosts consumers. It heals and enhances different sides of our brains. And it says a lot about our personalities too. Plants are just not given enough credit at all. They're an amazing species. They communicate, they release hormones, and they fend off danger, all rooted to just one spot. And if we're to believe Buxton's theories, they connect with our conscious thoughts too, and can help with, like colour, help with concentration and healing. So, as you can imagine, I'm absolutely amazed by colour and plants and how they affect our lives every day without us even realising. Please look after the plants and embrace colour and plants into your life. You'll find a magical difference. Thank you.